Good morning, everyone. Welcome to class. So today we are going to be going over our measurements. Obviously, measuring is one of the most important aspects of cooking. We have got to know how to properly measure things so that when we have recipes, we are not messing them all up. Our product comes out the way that we are wanting it to come out. So in front of me today, I have lots of variety of different ingredients we have. We've got some dry ingredients, we've got liquid ingredients, some small ingredients, and some little chunky ingredients, and I'm going to show you how we're going to properly measure them. Now, when we're measuring, we have a variety of equipment that we use. Does anybody know what these could be potentially called? They come in lots of different sizes. Owen. Yes, these are your dry measuring cups. So when we measure ingredients, we are going to use, that are dry, we are going to use dry measuring cups. Some examples of dry ingredients could be like our flours, our sugars, and like cereal, macaroni noodles, anything that is dry. When we measure out of this, what might we be measuring? What might this look like? We're going to pour things out. Brianna. Yeah, so we're going to measure liquids in this. This is what we call a liquid measuring cup. Liquid measuring cups are used for, obviously, it comes from the name, liquid ingredients. Liquid ingredients could include water, oils, juice, coffee, milk, anything that is liquid and that you need to take and pour out, okay? Now there's one more type of measuring utensil that we use, and it's these little friends. These are what we call our measuring spoons. Measuring spoons are what we use for teeny tiny amounts of ingredients that we might use. Can somebody list off an example of what a small ingredient would be? Something that we only want to consume small amounts of. Connor. Yeah, salt, right? If we have too much salt in something, obviously it's going to be really salty and it's going to make our products taste yucky. What else? Baking soda, very good. Baking soda is another example of something that we don't want too much of. Any type of seasoning, so like our oregano, our Italian seasonings, our extract, so vanilla. Vanilla extract is one of those things that smells really, really good, but if we have too much of it, it's not going to taste very good. Almond extract, any of that, okay? So let's start with our dry ingredients first. Again, we're going to use our dry ingredients. So I'm going to show you how to measure off our flour first. Flour, we want to use the scoop level pour method. So I'm going to measure out 1 cup of flour. So my 1 cup is my biggest one. Can anybody tell me maybe what the abbreviation for 1 cup is? Because when you read recipes, we have abbreviations. So does anybody know the abbreviation for cup? Mason. Yes, very good. So the abbreviation for cup is just a little c, or it could be a big C, a capital C, whichever one works best for you that you see. So when we have recipes, we're going to see the letter C. So when I say you need to add 1 cup of flour, you're going to see that little C. So to measure our flour, like I said, we do the scoop level pour method. So I'm going to scoop it up. You want to get a big heaping cup of it. Obviously, this is way too much flour for our chocolate chip cookies. I'm going to take my butter knife or any sort of flat edge that you might have in your kitchen. Maybe you could use a metal spatula. Maybe you have a different type of knife that you can use. I want you to use this flat edge right here. Can everybody see this? Not the curvy edge and not like you're about to butter toast, but just this flat edge. And I like to cut into it. We cut into it so that we fill in every little space that is in our measuring cup. And then we're going to level it off. And it's so satisfying to watch all of the flour get leveled off nice and evenly. Okay, so you have your 1 cup of flour. It's nice and leveled, as you can see. Okay, and we'll pour it back in there. So whenever you pour it back into your product. So that's our flour. Scoop level pour. Now, flour is one of those ingredients we don't want to pack in. Does anybody know why we don't pack in our flour? When we make cookies, what happens when it bakes? They start to get light and fluffy, right? So flour has a lot of air in it. And if we pack it, we're releasing and getting rid of air. And so then our product is not going to end up being light and fluffy. So you want to make sure that you just scoop it. You can also take a spoon, and if you want to pour it or scoop it into your cup until it reaches the very top, just like this, that's fine too. Pour that back out. All right, so that's our flour. Next is another type of dry ingredient. We are going to measure our brown sugar. So we have white sugar and we have brown sugar, two different purposes. Does anybody know why brown sugar is brown? Blaze, any thoughts? No, you're not sure? I want you to think about if you've ever used brown sugar, and if you smell it, it kind of smells like breakfast cereal, or it smells like a breakfast item. And you might put this on waffles or maybe pancakes. What do you put on pancakes? Syrup, very good. So brown sugar is actually white sugar that it has molasses in it. And molasses is this like really sticky, syrupy type of ingredient. It's a little bit more bitter than like a typical syrup, like a maple syrup, but it allows our brown sugar to get kind of sticky. So what we need to do with our brown sugar is we're gonna, again, do our scoop level pour method. So I'm gonna use, 1/4 cup of brown sugar. I'm gonna scoop it. Got a big old heaping cup of our sugar, and I'm gonna level it off. Nice and satisfying. Do you guys think this is right? What did I skip? Alexis. Very good, Alexis. You have to pack brown sugar because it has lots of the molasses into the white sugar causes little air pockets. And so if we don't pack in our brown sugar, we're gonna have lots of extra space in our measuring cup. You guys see, and then we're not gonna have enough brown sugar for our chocolate chip cookies that we're making. So if you can see, there's not enough brown sugar in there. So we need to go ahead and add a little bit more. And when you pack in your brown sugar, you can use your little fingertips, you can use your palm. Just want to make sure that it gets out really nice and even, or gets packed in there really nicely, okay? And then again, we'll go ahead and level off our brown sugar. And you know that when you measure your brown sugar correctly, you will flip it over, and when it comes out, you have like a perfect little brown sugar sandcastle, like we just went to the beach, right? Doesn't that sound super fun right now? I wish I were on the beach. All right, making lots of messes over here. All right, okay. Our next ingredient that we're going to measure is our small ingredients. So again, what are some examples of our small ingredients? Blaze, give me one. Very good. Salt. What was another one maybe? Alexis. Baking soda or baking powder. Very good. Vanilla extract. So that's what we're going to practice measuring today. We're going to measure our vanilla extract. Our measuring spoons come in 2 different sizes. Okay, so when you're reading a recipe, it's going to give you some abbreviations. Does anybody know what these 2 sizes might be called? Very good. Teaspoons and tablespoons. So we have our tablespoons, which are our larger unit, and we have our teaspoons, which is our smaller unit. So I'm going to show you the abbreviation. So if you're reading it on a recipe, you're going to see for a tablespoon, your abbreviations are going to be TBS, or you could also do a capital T. Okay? Anytime you see the B, that means that is your B, that's your tablespoon, or a capital T because it is your large unit. So you have 2 tablespoons, and my set has 1 tablespoon and half a tablespoon. And then you also have your teaspoons. And your abbreviations for your teaspoons, whenever you're reading on a recipe, you're going to see either a TSP or a tiny t. You're going to see a little t, a lowercase t. So again, remember, tablespoons have the B, and they're the big ones. And your teaspoons are going to have the S in it. and they're your smaller ones. What I like to remember is maybe you're at the table, the big long table, and you're gonna drink your tiny cup of tea at the table. So this is you drinking your tea at the table, okay? When we measure our smaller ingredients specifically, we always want to measure over something that we are not preparing. So let's say this is our batch of cookies over here, and we're gonna measure out we'll do 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So when I pour out my vanilla, you can measure liquids and solids in your measuring spoons, by the way. So when I pour my vanilla, I wanna make sure that I pour over another type of bowl. You could do this over the sink. You could do this in a custard cup that I have here, a cereal bowl, really anything. Because we don't want to accidentally pour too much and it spills over and then we have too much going on in our chocolate chip cookies, okay? So I'm gonna pour that out. Another small ingredient could be our salt. So again, I'm going to measure over something different. So let's measure out 1/4 teaspoon. And then, oh, look, I measured too much. So we want to make sure that and because I had this little custard cup, I did okay and I didn't mess up. I'm going to level that off. Now I have my 1/4 teaspoon, okay? All right, the last one is your liquid ingredients. This is your liquid ingredients your liquid measuring cup, excuse me. Like I said, only liquids should be measured in this so that you have the most accurate measurement. I'm going to take my mermaid water. I made it look nice and green and teal so you can see it better. I'm going to measure 1 cup of water. Now, you don't want to hold it up here and then look right here because you're not going to get the most accurate measurement. You want to put it down on a flat surface. Make sure that you know where your lines are. And I'm going to look and find where my 1 cup measuring line is. I'm going to make it eye level and then I am going to pour all the way up to my 1 cup and stop right there, okay? Making sure that you remember to get eye level and that we are not holding our cup up here and thinking that we're accurate because you'll have an inaccurate measurement, all right? Okay, so those are your measuring 101, okay? Remember we have our abbreviations over here, tablespoon for TBS or capital T, teaspoon for a teaspoon or a lowercase t. Cup is a C or it could be capital T, C, okay? So this would be now where I would give different recipes to the students. Maybe we could do, if they're more of a lower leveled student and they don't grasp the concept as much, they could do a smaller mug recipe that only involves a few different ingredients to more of an advanced student who has been in the kitchen before and it's just kind of like maybe this was a refresher for them. They could make chocolate chip cookies, they could do pancakes, and then we could have a different recipes in the middle for maybe our like more, still need a little bit of help, and it could be just a different type of mug recipe that requires a little bit more ingredients as well.